Hello and welcome to the Viva La Vulva podcast. I am your host, Dr. Cara Quant, and we have a special episode today. We are talking all about vulvas and pussy today. I have the mother of Pussy Church, as well as an avid dancer, a dance healer. Her name is Tamina Paris, and I thank you for being on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me. Viva la vulva. I love it so much. I love that you're doing this.
Yes. I mean, I think that we are on the same kind of wavelength when it comes to Viva La Vulva and Pussy Church. I actually heard about you through a friend of mine who has also been on the podcast. Her name is Ciara Sullivan. She is the Pussy Oracle. And so I am just surrounding myself with all types of pussy people.
Yes,
Pussy healers, yes.
Yes, and Ciara is one of the practitioners in Pussy Church as well. She's one of our pussy priestesses. So
yes. Well, give me a little bit of information about yourself and introduce yourself to everyone out there.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Tamina Paris, and yes, I am a dance healer. I use dance to bring women into their bodies, into their power, and that has rooted into coming into connection with your pussy power in a way that goes beyond like thinking about pussy power, because we can think about pussy power all the time, but like, what does that actually feel like? So my 21 years of experience touring the world, dancing with artists like Lady Gaga, I've been on So You Think You Can Dance. I've had an extensive career in dance, but now my focus has been less about what you're showing on stage, but more about like, how are you holding yourself? Like, how are you allowing yourself to express fully on every stage, not just performance stage, but the stage of life. So my work has all transformed to like really holding and accepting and liberating yourself from the inside out.
Wow, that is powerful. And like I have, the audience may or not know, depending on how long you've listened to the podcast, but I am an avid dancer. Like I love dancing. Salsa dancing is my thing, is my jam. And yes, I have been missing it because of COVID and the pandemic. I haven't been able to do my salsa dancing, but I know how much dancing has created so much opportunity in my life. Not even opportunity, but just healing. And actually, I remember doing, I think I may have told you, but I did a reading with Ciara Sullivan, and that was one of the things that she told me was like moving my hips more, dancing more, will help with opening up my sacral chakra more. And so I understand and I love dancing.
Yeah, it's such a medicine. Like I've seen people open up in their body, like through dance, and have that translate into them being able to open up businesses, them being able to do things that they thought they weren't able to do before. They find that courage within themselves, like, oh, I am that person who can open a business. Oh, I am that person who can feel good or get the things that I want in life. So yeah, dance has a really beautiful way of healing in that way.
Yeah. And so for people out there, so I am putting this on obviously, podcast, but also my YouTube channel. And so this is a recorded video. So at the end of this episode, we're actually Tamina is going to be showing us some moves, some dance moves to do. And so stay tuned for that. Yes. Whether you're a dancer or you're not a dancer, if you don't do dance, if you feel like you're, a wall hugger, you don't know how to dance, I invite you to try some moves with us because I think that it can be helpful and opening. Yes. So I have so many questions for you. Where did the idea of Pussy Church come about? Because I
Yes.
feel like it's a very radical idea. It's a very radical idea for you to not only think about it, but also to implement it. I think that that's amazing.
Thank you. It was one of the smoothest things. One of my smoothest creations that have ever come through me. It's happened in such a quick way. So, as I mentioned before, I'm a dance healer and I get women into their body and so that they can, blossom from the inside out. So, in that process, I connect women to their feminine channels, which are the throat, the heart, the womb, and the pussy. So every time I would do that, the second I would get to the pussy, people would be like they'd freeze or they'd feel like a lot of shame or like embarrassment or like an inability to even connect. So as that kept happening, I was like, okay, I need to find a way, an easy way for women to be able to connect to their pussies again, because from experience, I know pretty much most of my power, let's say all, comes from my connection to my pussy. When I'm on stage, like people see me perform and they're like, oh, I can't take my eyes off you, or like my essence or my embodiment. And that's from me like connecting with my pussy and moving from my pussy. So from there, I was like, okay, how can I create a way for women to easily access this part within themselves? So from there, I created a pussy yoga called Ignita. So it's like a quick, like physical exercise that you do, like much like any yoga position you would make, like postures that like instantly creates that connection to the pussy. So from that place, I was like, okay, I need to do something fun to like launch this, to like, spread the word, like, okay, pussy yoga is coming. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have like a thing on Facebook where we just talk about pussy. I'll do like a post every day. And then it turned into like, oh, I'm going to invite people to come talk about pussy. So I started a thing called Pussy Awareness Week, which became PAW. So I had a list of panelists come in and we all talked about like different areas that were maybe considered taboo or shameful about pussy, and like normalized and actually empowered ourselves through having these conversations. So from there, it was like a collective was forming. And I was like, I looked at these women, I was like, oh my gosh, let's create a pussy church where we not only talk about our pussies, but we actually do practices that bring us into connection with our pussies. Because we can't talk about this connection any longer. We need to live it. We need to walk it. We need to practice it. So from there, we formed, there's about 9 of us now. We have a collective and we hold Pussy Church service every Sunday. And each of us created a new pathway, like based on our specialties and our offerings. We create different ways of connecting with our sacred pussies every Sunday.
Wow. So, I mean, so where do I start? That is beautiful. I mean, I think that connecting with our power source, because I do believe it is our power source. So I agree with you. I've heard it as it called the seat of power. We are sitting on our thrones. And so like I feel like it is a very powerful area of our body. And yes, many people are ashamed about it. There's so many people just because of society, because of religion, at least from my perspective, religion, society. There's been a lot of, shaming for especially women pleasure. And yeah, it's such a shameful thing. So I think that is the reason why I created Viva La Vulva. And it sounds like, that's the reason why Pussy Church has been created. So like, give us an example of like what a service includes.
Yeah, so we have multiple services. For instance, the one we did last week was called Dear Pussy. And that was an erotic writing workshop where we got to connect to, oh my gosh, like our pussy's journey and the different points in our life that have contributed to creating the relationship we have with our pussies. And then we wrote a letter to our pussies, just like, what do we want to say to her? What do we want to create with her? Another instance is Sierra. She offers the Pussy on Display, where we get to explore pussies in nature and to see our sacredness reflected in the world around us through the different imageries that naturally happen in the world around us. I offer pussy yoga, which is like the Ignita method I mentioned earlier. There's dance from your pussy. We have sensual eating practices that connect you to like fruits that look like pussies.
Mm-hmm.
So literally another one that I really love is unsanctioned desires. And we get to talk about like our desires and our fantasies and practice being with them and feeling powerful and being able to learn how to ask for what we want and create those containers in a safe way.
Yeah.
So literally every service it starts with like us dropping in together. We connect as a community because the community aspect is really important for us.
Yeah.
Like we have like monthly pleasure passes where like it's the same women that come together mostly now. Like we all are making this weekly commitment to ourselves to show up for ourselves and each other. So we drop in together. We go through the practice. You always have the option of having the camera on or off because some of the services you might want to have more of an intimate container with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always about giving yourself what you need. And then at the end, we wrap it up and we share. We feel called to. So it really is just like an hour of like practice with your sisters, and it feels good because it's not too like you're not going in like a full day ritual. It's like a quick hour of being in worship, and then you get to go about your day feeling like recharged and ready.
Yeah. So what do you, I mean, because it is a radical idea, and to say pussy church, I think some people may have the idea like this is, would you say, blasphemous, or like how could you call this a pussy church? Like, is this going against religion? Is this going against other faiths? So what do you say to that?
You know what's really shocking? I was expecting to hear a lot more people come up against me and us in that way and like have these I guess rebuttals or something about it, but I haven't come across that. And to me, I attribute this to the fact that the way that we're presenting ourselves, it's like a truth that's undeniable. Like, how can we deny that pussies aren't divine? How can we deny that pussies aren't worthy of worship? How can we deny that pussies aren't connected to spirit? So, like, the main thing about that I think is missing in a lot of religion is that we're missing the point. What are we doing in church? We're worshiping the divine. Well, aren't we divine? And I think that society as a whole, we haven't thought that we were divine. We haven't thought ourselves as worthy. So that's the shift that's happening now, is we're realizing that we can't thrive if we don't see the worthiness in ourselves at all.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like I haven't come across any of that like talk back that I was anticipating.
Yeah.
Because the source of where we're coming from is about wholeness, and holiness is wholeness.
Wow. Yeah. And like that, I will speak my truth. The reason why I consider myself more of a spiritual person rather than a religious person. I grew up in many different kind of denominations. I've gone to Catholic church. I've gone to Christian church. I've gone to different types of Buddhist places. I've gone to different and practice different religions. But I think the one thing that I have found to be omitted is the woman, is like the female aspect. And I feel like, worshiping this God, it's a he rather than a she. And so I feel like I haven't seen myself within these religious environments. And so I have always thought a little bit differently. And I do feel like we as women, yes, are divine and that we have something very special within us. And I mean, I think that we all, men and women, can be considered holy and divine. But yes, I like to see the female aspect within religion that I feel like oftentimes was or is omitted.
100%, it's omitted. And like this feminine energy that we're saying is omitted is the feminine energy that lives in women and men.
Yeah.
Like it's been rejected and repressed. Like feelings, emotions, intuition has got such a bad reputation. People don't trust it. It's because it's been rejected, and it's been rejected in the religion, and it trickles down, and it's like, oh, we reject it in ourselves too. And then even worse than that, we reject it when we see it in others, because we can't honor what we don't honor. We can't honor anything in someone else that we don't first see or honor within ourselves. So it just ripples out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. So how do you incorporate dance into Pussy Church?
Yes. So the offering that I offer with the dance is called Dance from Your Pussy. So how we do this is I bring all of our attention and awareness to our feminine channels, as I mentioned earlier, throat, heart, womb, pussy. And then I start to direct movement that starts from your pussy, and then it builds outwards. So usually with dance class, it's like, oh, someone's doing this move, let me copy it. So instead of it being like, oh, let me try to copy this move, it's about like, what does that move feel like from the inside out? And letting that be what leads the movement, what drives it, and what allows you to actually feel good doing it. Because that's what's really missing with a lot of movement. Like we're looking to copy just for copying's sake.
Yeah.
But we're missing the feeling, like the essence, the nectar. And dancing from your pussy is just innately like juicy and like full of life. So that's how I incorporate dance into Pussy Church.
Yeah. So not everyone is doing the same kind of movement. It's more of what you feel inside, like what you're inspired to do.
Well, there's definitely direction in it.
Right.
So I like to say I just have a special method that I've created, because I've had an academy, a dance academy, for like 10 years in the past, called the Girls Club. So I've learned ways to incorporate structure and direction, but still for there to be space for you to feel like you're doing you.
Yeah. I mean, because I know I always will turn on some music and in my, dance in my living room, because that brings me a lot of joy, especially in my body. Relaxation, release in my body also. Yeah,
because it's like you're actually physically moving through what's alive, rather than like, again, oh man, I don't feel good, or whatever the feeling is, and you just like sit in it. But like if you give it life, you give it like an avenue, a channel to be expressed, it can transform into something else, or it can amplify. It's like you're wielding magic with your body.
Yes. Okay, well, I think this is the time to show maybe a couple moves that we can do at home to tap more into our pussy, to our pussy energy, to our pussy power.
Yes. Beautiful. Let's do it. So this is what I like to do. I like to just play music. So I have a song queued up.
Okay.
I'm going to play a song, and I'm going to do some movements. And I want you to take the movements in to your field, into your body, and let yourself express the way that you are feeling what you're seeing.
Okay.
So it's going to be just a follow. I'm not going to be like, here's the move that you can take with you. Now I'm gonna dance from my pussy, and then you're gonna take it into yours, and then you're gonna dance.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
Okay, let's get comfy. Let's get to a standing position.
All right. So let me move some things out of the way.
Yes. Anyone tuning in? Yes. Move things out of the way. Just get to a space where you feel like, yes, I'm free to move.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Ooh.
So here we go. Can you hear me okay in the music?
Yes.
Okay, gorgeous. I'm gonna give us a little more. So we're gonna start just by putting the hips to the side, right and left. Left, right, yes. Side to side, slow side to side, yes. Feeling the space shift between your legs. How does your pussy feel right now as you sway?
Feels pretty good.
Yes.
It's warming up.
Letting the arms grow. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Feeling that space in between your legs. Ha. 1, 2, 3. Yes. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. We're gonna go to the head next. We're gonna roll the head over. Slowly in a circle. Yes. Not worrying about looking at me, but connecting. What does it feel like for you as you roll your head? Are you touching your thighs? Yes. Other way. Feeling your legs. What is it like when you open your heart to the sky? 2 more. And slowly meeting in the middle, coming back to our, yes, here we go. Now we're gonna do the chest, open, close, open, close, yes, open, close, open, close. Now my arms are going hop to the back, hop to the front, hop, front, hop, front, hop. Now we're gonna smooth it out. Hop, hop. Yes. Hey. Hey. Feeling your legs, your body, slowing it down. And down the legs. Yes. And up, slow. Let's breathe in. Inhale. Exhale. Yes. Yes. Exhale. One more time. Nice. Exhale. Slowly rolling up. Coming to center. Rolling the hands in. Flipping up to the sky. Exhale. Down. Yes. Coming up again. Coming in. Rolling up. Exhale. Letting it out. One more time. Breathing in. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Rolling the shoulders. Letting your hands float. Yes. Almost going so slow that you're not worried about the beat, but you're all about how it feels to be sailing and floating in space. Feeling your fingertips, yes. Floating in the space in between. Slowly bringing the arms up. Slow, taking your time. letting the hips go side to side as your arms melt down your body, pouring down honey down every part of your body, going down your legs, bending the knees, going to the feet, slowly coming back up, landing with one hand on your heart, one hand on your womb or your pussy space, thanking them for expressing and for going through this little dance moment with
Thank
me.
you. Tamina, wow.
How you feeling?
I feel great. That feels, it feels opening, it feels good, it feels safe, it feels it feels good. Movement, yes, movement feels good. No real, I mean, there's direction, but it just feels like it flows. Flows very well.
I could see you drop into more of your flow at the
Yeah.
moment. Your arms got softer, you took more space, you explored more. I felt you opening.
Yes. And it's so good. It's really funny. I don't believe in coincidences, but it's funny that you played that music because I just heard that song a couple days ago, and I have not heard that song in years. So, wow.
I mean, people say that I wield magic with the music selection that I play. So that's another reason why to come to Pussy Church and dance with me.
Yes. Well, speaking of that, how can people stay in contact with you? How can people join Pussy Church, or either be a practitioner in Pussy Church, and just get to know more about you?
Yes, well, to get to know more about me, you can go to taminaparis.com. You can see all of the offerings that I have. I do one-on-one coaching. I do group programs. You can try Pussy Yoga, Ignita. I have a weekly series going on now. And then for Pussy Church, if you want to connect with us there and to see the schedule, you can go to www.pussychurch.ca, and you'll be able to find all of our service devotion schedules there.
Okay.
Oh, and we're dancing September 20th.
Yes.
We're doing Dance from Your Pussy. I'm going to be teaching dance at Pussy Church Sunday, September 20th at 11 a.m. EST. And if you can't make it live, we offer 36-hour replays. But if you get the monthly pleasure pass, you get replays for a week.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So they can find the dance on the pussychurch.ca website.
Yes.
Okay. And those that information of how to stay in contact with Tamina Paris, as well as how to attend Pussy Church, will be in the description below the podcast and for the YouTube channel. So, Tamina, I thank you so much for being who you are and for creating space for women to tap more into their power source, their pussies. You are divine, and I am grateful for you. And thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having this podcast and having this platform for these important discussions and the liberation of vulvas across the world.
Yes. So thank you out there for listening. If you like what you hear, subscribe to the podcast. Tell your friends and family about the podcast as well. But all the information that we shared here today will be in the description. And that is it for today. Thank you. Bye.